Hi reception, story time. Well done on all your hard work today. We made it to the end of Monday. I thought for our story today we could read The Snail and the Whale because we've been learning about all sorts of different animals and we're going to be learning about some animals that live under the water later in the week. So on the front I can see a whale, I can see a parrot, I can see a toucan in the tree, and I can see a little tiny snail on the whale's tail. All those three words rhyme. Snail, tail, whale. We've been doing about rhyming words as well, haven't we? Now, this is written by someone called Julia Donaldson. She also wrote the book called The Gruffalo. We've read that in class, haven't we? Let's have a look at our blurb. Remember the bit that tells us what's going to happen in the story. And it says, this is the tale of a tiny snail who longs to see the world. But how can she travel? By hitching a lift on the tail of a whale, of course. Let's see. The Snail and the Whale. This is the tale of a tiny snail and a great big grey-blue humpback whale. This is a rock as black as soot, and this is the snail with the itchy foot. Can you see the snail and the rock? The sea snail slithered all over the rock and gazed at the sea and the ships in the dock. And as she gazed, she sniffed and sighed. The sea is deep and the world is wide. How I long to sail, said the tiny snail. What can you see? I can see the rock. I can see some seagulls. What's this? A lighthouse. I can see a lighthouse as well. And I can see some boats. These are the other snails in the flock who all stick tight to the smooth black rock and said to the snail with the itchy foot, be quiet, don't wriggle, sit still, stay put. But the tiny sea snail sighed and sniffed, then cried, I've got it, I'll hitch a lift. This is the trail of the tiny snail, a silvery trail that looped and curled and said, lift wanted around the world. Look, she's crawled to form her letters on the rock. I wonder who's going to pick her up. This is the whale who came one night when the tide was high and the stars were bright, a humpback whale immensely long, who sang to the snail a wonderful song of shimmering ice and coral caves and shooting stars and enormous waves. There's the whale. It's night time. You can see the moon. And this is the tale of the humpback whale. He held it out of the starlit sea and said to the snail, come sail with me. This is the sea so wild and free that carried the whale and the snail on his tail to towering icebergs and far off lands with fiery mountains and golden sands. Look, they're in the icy water there. These are icebergs. These are icebergs and there's some seals. Can you see the little seals? And then they're at the beach. You can see the sand and a volcano. A volcano and some dolphins diving, dolphins, diving. These are the waves that are arched and crashed, that foamed and frolicked and sprayed and splashed the tiny snail on the tail of the whale. These are the caves beneath the waves where stripy fish with feathery fins and sharks with hideous toothy grins swam round the whale and the snail on his tail. Look at their sharp, sharp teeth. We've got lots of fish here. We're going to be learning all about different fish and an octopus next week, or later in this week. This is the sky so vast and high, sometimes sunny and blue and warm, sometimes filled with a thunderstorm, with zigzag lightning flashing and frightening the tiny snail on the tail of the whale. Got palm trees here, little crabs in the sand, and parrots on the palm trees. Pages are stuck together. But then came the day the whale lost his way. These are the speedboats running a race, zigging and zooming all over the place, upsetting the whale with their ear-splitting roar, making him swim too close to the shore. This is the tide slipping away. Oh no, look! The whale has ended up on the beach. There's not enough water. What do you think is going to happen? And this is the whale lying beached in a bay. Quick, off the sand, back to sea, cried the snail. I can't move on land, I'm too big, moaned the whale. The snail felt helpless and terribly small. Then, I've got it, she cried, and started to crawl. I must not fail, said the tiny snail. Oh, so there's no water left for the whale. He can't get back in the sea. This is the bell on the school in the bay, ringing the children in from their play. This is the teacher holding her chalk, telling the class, sit straight, don't talk. This is the board as black as soot, and this is the snail with the itchy foot. A snail, the teacher turns pale. Look, said the children, it's leaving a trail. This is the trail of the tiny snail, a silvery trail saying, save the whale. So she's used her trail again. What do you think the children are going to do? Let's see. These are the children running from school, fetching the fireman, digging a pool, squirting and spraying to keep the whale cool. Everybody's helping the whale. You've got the fireman. Did anybody say they wanted to be a fireman in our jigsaw lesson last week? We've got them spraying water and the children are digging the pool for this whale. This is the tide coming into the bay, and these are the villagers shouting hooray as the whale and the snail travel safely away. They're all waving goodbye to them. They've saved the whale's life. And they sang to the sea as they all set sail on the tail of the grey-blue humpback whale. Lovely. So we're going to be learning all about the creatures that live in the sea later on in the week in our topic lessons. Have a lovely evening reception. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.